Hello everyone. Welcome. I am Dr. Michelle. I am a data consultant and the chief data scientist of Mogul Beginnings Data Consulting. And I'm here with my pal and partner. Tell about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I am Teresa Pelham, founder and CEO of the Grants Boutique Consulting Firm, where we are winning grants for a higher purpose.
I love that. Winning grants for a higher purpose. Because Teresa, I don't know if you know, but I've actually kind of, so not necessarily a pivot, but kind of been more outward about who I want to serve, which are mission-driven
Mhm.
organizations. So it's like right in line with your getting grants for a purpose. Is that how you said it?
Yeah, winning grants for a higher purpose. Because a lot of times when we get grants, we are not doing it just for ourselves, but we are doing it to impact the community.
Exactly. So yes, we are in one accord, y'all. This is why we work together so well because we serve similar avatar, and we really
Yeah.
want to help you guys get the funds you need for your organization to really push your mission forward.
Yeah,
So
and
today,
that's why today is a great topic. What does it mean to get grant ready? Just because we all want to apply for grant funding doesn't mean that we are ready. So we're
yes.
gonna talk a little bit about that today.
Well, let's go ahead and dive into it because I was about to do my little segue, but you beat me to it. So when we say grant ready, Teresa, what's the first thing you think of?
Um, Grant readiness really means if you are prepared to apply for a grant, if you are ready to receive and manage a grant. A lot of
Okay.
times when we talk about grant readiness, people think about applying, but it's more to it than that. You have to not only know how to apply, but you also have to know what you need to receive it and also how to manage that grant. And
I like that. I
yeah,
hadn't because I think I'm one of those ones that didn't necessarily think about after you receive it.
mhm.
I'm just trying to get it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, that is so true. That's what most people think about. I want the grant, I want it. And then when you get the grant, they be like, what do I do? Or how to manage the grant. So when we talk about grant readiness, it's a broader scope, you know.
Okay.
But we're gonna talk about just the first part. A lot of times when you get ready for a grant, a lot of consultants like myself and you, we do a grant readiness assessment. We
Mm-hmm.
assess if you are truly ready to receive a grant. So if you are new and you are considering applying for a grant, the first thing you have to know is financial basics. You have to know that administrative and financial basics. If you're a nonprofit, you have to have that 501c3. If
Mm-hmm.
you're a for profit, you have to have an entity. You can't just say, I'm a business and have it in your head. You have to have some documentation, like your LLC, your S code, your C code. You got to have that documentation. Yeah, because
So you
I
can't well,
go
you
ahead.
can't just make up in your mind one day I'm a business and then start
Yeah.
applying for a grant.
And there's a lot of people that's our business and operating as a business, but they're not technically a business on paper. So when you apply
Gotcha.
for a grant, make sure you have your documents that indicates you are a true business, your business license, if you're registered with your state entity. So just make sure you have that.
That's good. Okay, y'all, because we can't be playing business. Like this is for real stuff. They need to have somewhere to send the money to, and it's not just about to be your house.
Yeah.
Okay, like it's
Yeah.
not just your personal checking or savings. They need somewhere to send the money.
Yeah. And a lot of people they apply for grants, and then once they receive the grant, most especially the larger grants, they want you to have a business checking account. So if you
Mm-hmm.
don't have a business checking or account separate from your personal, you need to go ahead and get that done because they want to filter that money into your business account because you apply for the grant on the basis of your business or your nonprofit organization. So you
Right.
need to have an account for that grant to go into.
That's what. Listen, all I heard when Teresa said that was they're not trying to be an accomplice if something happens with the IRS. Like they're not sending money to your personal checking or savings account. They're like, listen, this is a business transaction. Show us the business account, and then we can talk. But like they're not trying to go down with you if something happens.
Yeah, right. They are not. Let me tell you, and they won't. So when I do have a grant checklist. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you have your organizational background. Um, a lot of grants now they ask you when you were first established. They ask you, your history, what things you've done in the community, or we're working with people, your demographics. So you got to have some organizational background. And even though you have it in your head, I'm good at doing this. I have things in my head. But if I don't put it on paper, it
Right,
don't really exist to other people because everybody's not in my head. So you got to have it on paper.
right. That's good. No, I love that. I think that's just good business practice in general.
Mhm.
When it's time to do anything, whether you're getting a new client, whether you're onboarding a new employee, like you have to get things out of your head onto the paper. When it's time to talk money, talk business, talk venture capital funding, talk grant funding, it cannot be stuck in there. Like they can't read your mind. And if God
Right.
forbid something happens to you, you go to the hospital or you pass away, that information is all tracked. So
Right.
I hope that was a takeaway, not just for getting grant ready, but just good business practices in general. Like you have to be able to transfer that information somewhere else besides yourself.
Right. Right. And you got to have that in business. If you're going to be a legitimate business, you got to really do that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad when you mentioned the IRS because a lot of times some grants want to see your tax documents. They have you
Mm-hmm.
upload. I know if you're a nonprofit, you have those 990s, and
Mm-hmm.
so they want to see it because that's accountability. If you're a
Right.
business, they want to see your business tax documents sometimes. So, and a lot of grants don't ask for that, but just have it ready.
That's good.
Other financial information, you might need a profit and loss. A lot of times, I've said this before, some of those major federal grants, they ask for a financial audit, an
Oh, okay.
external financial audit. So, yeah,
Okay.
not internal. And a lot of times, if you're going to do that, it's just best practice to use a CPA, a certified public accountant, to do your audit for you.
That's
And
good.
even if you don't use it, you'll still have it. And it's good business practice as well, because then that'll let you look over your finances and see where you are.
I love that. I think that's again to me it all goes back to good business practices.
Mm-hmm.
Like we should be having good documentation. We should have an accurate record of how we're spending money, how we're using money, money coming in. Because I hear that a lot, and sometimes it seems like a small business problem, but I hear that more and more from businesses that are actually really successful,
Right.
especially when they have multiple streams. Like they don't just do this one thing. Like I do speaking, I do this, I do that, and it's all coming in, and they can't keep up with what's
Right.
what. And so it's a problem across the board. So in general, this is good business practice, guys, because when it's time
Right.
to apply for funding, whether it's a grant or a loan, you have to have that information squared away. Like it can't be the last minute stuff is really what's getting us. And I think that's why we chose a theme of getting grant ready, because we want you to be ready at every opportunity. And if you're always doing things last minute, it's like trying to get your financials together right before taxes. Well, now you're pushing against the clock. If you're always trying to get your stuff together before you apply for a grant or before
Right.
you're ready to onboard a new employee, like it's always just going to be a mess, and you're creating this chaotic environment of how to do business, and that translates over how you handle your clients.
Right.
So, as you listening to Teresa and I during this segment, don't just think about it as getting ready for grants. I want you to really just grants. This is everything she's telling you. All the advice she's giving you can literally be applied across the board of your business or
Right.
organization.
Right. Even if you're going to try to do a venture capital, you have to have sound financial information.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another thing, I did say you have your financial statement, your most recent audit, but also if you know you're going to apply for a grant, go ahead and do your organizational budget for the fiscal year, and also do your project budget, because sometimes some of the grants is just going to fund your project. So what
Mhm.
I do an organizational budget, but I also have a project budget that I pull, from my organization budget. So it's good to have that. Because a lot of times when you look for grants, I always tell people to think outside of the box, because you
Mhm.
might not find a grant for your business per se, but you may find a grant for a project or initiative that you're trying to do.
Can you give
So
us an example?
an example of that, like I do, like someone, we have a school, a training thing. I might not find a grant for my business as a trainer, but I might find a grant for just one course. Like I'm trying to help employees learn computer skills. That's a
Mhm.
project that I'm doing. And so I might find a grant just to help those people do computer skills, but I might not find a grant for my whole business, which is a training and technical assistance business.
That's good.
And I
I
might
think
just
that's
find
a great
that grant for
distinction.
a computer course. Hmm.
That's a great distinction. And I hear Teresa say this all the time, but I don't think we can say it enough because we do go into grant, especially those that are kind of new to the grant world. We go into it like looking for you to fund this business. Like, I have this business and this niche. And so when you see the announcements come out, you see these different initiatives come out where they're really looking to fund it, you just say, well, that's not what I do. That's not all what I do. Or, like that's just not my business. So
Hmm.
I'm not going to apply. And that's not true. So, like she said, you may have a segment of your business that focuses on that. You may have a training portion, or you may have some type of charitable portion that is in
Right.
alignment with what that grant is doing. And if that's you, then why not? Like, so I want you to not just think about, because this is grant ready, and part of readiness is knowing when you can apply, when you can and cannot apply.
All right.
Don't think about your whole business every single time. Do you
Hmm.
see any alignment at all
Right.
with what you do, your initiatives, your mission, your vision, with what they're looking to fund? If there's any piece of alignment, then dig a little deeper. Don't count yourself out just because, oh, they're not looking to fund for profits, or they're not looking to fund this entire entity. Look a little deeper. Look for
Hmm.
alignment.
Right. Look for alignment. Great. That's a great. And then look for alignment. Uh, Another thing, this is for my nonprofits and my corporate people. They want to know a little bit about your governance, like your board of directors, a list. And usually, when you do talk about your board of directors, don't just list the names. Do what kind of affiliations they may have, what skill set they're bringing to the table. You don't want to have your reviewers guessing anything,
Mm,
because, like
that's
I
good.
said, if I'm a reviewer, I don't know you or your business. I'm reading about you on this paper. So make it easy for your reviewers to know who you are and what you do. Make sure you have an organizational chart. I am kind of I am a solopreneur, but I have VAs and I have contractors. Well, in my chart, I might have myself, but I'll put virtual assistant, I'll put contractors under it. That'll let the grant that I'm not just the only person, but I do have some other people in my business.
Now,
So
can I pause right there, because I think that's a really good point, because I was at a retreat this week and that came up multiple times. People that are looking to do business with you, sometimes you being a solopreneur, it is a turn off for them. And not to say that you can't do the work. It's that, well, if something happens to you, so again, that's all that stuff that's trapping your head. If
yeah,
something happens to you, will this project fall apart?
right,
Will what I have on the line, because if I'm depending on your product to do something, will, if you go to the hospital, will that cause my stuff to fall apart? And so the fact that Teresa, yes, I'm a solopreneur, but I also have VAs and I also have contractors, that gives these other business owners as well as these funders a little more confidence that you are not doing this by yourself, that if something happens to you, that things can still go on because you have help. So it's okay that you don't have you don't have full-time
right,
employees yet, but at least showing that you have support just gives funders as well as potential business partners and people that want to work with you just more assurance that you
right,
can handle the work.
right. Point in case COVID. How many knew that? I mean, if you haven't learned anything from COVID, learn about preparation and making sure you have sound business practices. I don't know why this keep doing that. And I mean, because like you said, it just take one event and it could be detrimental to your business. So you need to set your business up like that. And that organizational chart will help. Um, Another thing is bylaws, conflict of interest policy, non-discrimination policies. You don't have those things, you really need to get those. That's just best practice. Also, current strategic plan. Everyone should have a strategic plan in business. I have one.
That's good.
You know, I have a strategic plan. So you need to have a strategic plan. And I have written grants where they did ask if you have a strategic plan, non-discrimination policy, all that stuff. So that's it.
Real
Another
quick,
thing,
Teresa,
go ahead.
before we go, I want to just remind the folks what we're doing, why we're doing this.
Oh,
So this, I'm Dr. Michelle, this is Teresa. We are the co-hosts of Grant Success Unlocked. And we want to remind you of why you need to register and be there.
If you are relying on grants, or if that's a heavy part of how you fund your mission, you need to be there, especially if you have not been as successful with being rewarded those grants. Because I mean, if you're just bootstrapping, that gets old very quickly and it ends up being a bottleneck in your business or your organization. If you're relying on family and friends, it gets old and it's going to end up being a bottleneck in your organization. They don't support how you would want them to support because they just not your avatar. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, if you're relying on those methods, you need to be here because this is how you're going to propel yourself.
So yes, guys, we want you to register grantsuccessunlock.com. You can scan the QR code. You can just go to your browser, put www.grantsuccessunlock.com. It is happening this Saturday. We are focusing on getting grant ready because we want you to be ready for the next opportunity. It can't be you see the announcement and now you spring into action. Last minute stuff is really hurting us. So we're talking about getting grant ready, and we're going to go in more detail at our upcoming workshop, which is on Saturday. So just go to www.grantsuccessunlock.com now. All right, go ahead, Teresa.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. There's so much out there in the grants world, so many grants, and the grant industry is changing. So you need people to kind of help guide you through it if you're not experienced with it. So come to the Grant Success Unlock. Let us guide you through it. Let your 2023 year, let it be that you end strong with that, and let 2024 be your most successful revenue year.
I love that because right, so many 20s, and that's one thing that I think both Teresa and I really pushing because this is Q4, and so it doesn't mean that you have to wait until January to get started. Like, getting started, you can get started today. There are opportunities still presenting themselves today, and some opportunities that are due at the very beginning of the year. That means you can't start in January. You got to start now. And if you've been under, I guess, if you've heard myths that you can't apply for grants, because that came up, I think, last time we did this. I can't apply for a grant because I'm not a grant writer. That is not true. You need to be there because, like, we're literally telling you how to get grant ready so you can apply for the next opportunity. You don't have to hire a grant writer if you're not ready to do that. We do recommend it when you're ready, but you don't have to do that to get started. You don't have to make a certain amount of money or do whatever. We are literally telling you what it takes to just be ready to apply. So when the opportunity comes, you can. So whatever barrier, whatever myth that you've heard so far, we want you to kick it far down the road, and we want you to attend this workshop. So one, you can get the iterations in your ear about what it means to apply for a grant and what it takes to apply for a grant. So you're not afraid to do it. Like, I think that's a big thing. Sometimes people even intimidated because they just don't think they're going to win. And that's not true, y'all.
Right. And so what? If you don't win this one, there are millions of grants out there that you can apply to.
Trillions of dollars.
Applying.
Trillions of dollars.
Trillions. I was amazed when I got the data, trillions of dollars. And I'm like, how much of that did you all get in your business? Come on, let's do it. And there are grants. They got grants out there that have the end of the month deadlines. They got grants that have November deadlines and December. So it's still not too late to get a grant this year.
That's good. That's good. I love that. Okay, Teresa, you had a few more things you wanted to share from your list about getting grant ready.
I did. I just wanted to make sure that when we talked about governance, but also about your program or your project initiative, make sure you have a detailed, let me repeat that word, a detailed program or project description. I always tell people, let somebody else read it. Write your project or your program description and let somebody who don't know your business or don't know what you do read it and let them see if they can tell what you do.
That's good. Listen, as a nerdy person, this is something that I struggle with and other people like me struggle with, because in our head we know what we do, but when it's time to articulate to someone else, they're looking at you like, I don't get it. And I'm still refining it so that way it's easy for people to understand. So that advice of getting someone else to read it, I promise you it's not a waste of time. Get your friend, your cousin, your business partner, another business bestie. Get somebody else to read it that does, especially that don't know what you do for real. Because if they're confused, the reviewer is going to be confused.
Right. And I always might have people at your church or wherever you worship or just know people. I always grab somebody and say, hey, can you read this and tell me, do you know what this person does? Do you know what they do? Do you know what I do? So do that. Also, another thing, this year is ending, so you should have some measurable goals and metrics. And that's where Dr. Michelle come in. She's going to help you with that, but you need to have some measurable goals and metrics. And Dr. Michelle, can you tell them a little bit when we talk about measurable goals? Because sometimes we have goals, but how can you measure that?
No, I love that. Let me type this out. We want to dialogue with you. So as we're talking, I see some people liking and hearting, but you can drop your comment and we will see it and respond to it right here in real time. So you don't have to. We love you listening, but you can also participate in the conversation. So I love that Teresa said measurable, because a lot of times we have like, oh, we're our impact is increasing self-confidence, or our impact is decreasing food insecurity. Both of those sound great, but how? One, it's the how. Like, how are you going to do that? And explaining how you're going to do that. It really is, how are you going to measure that? That's kind of like understood in there. So if you're talking about food insecurity, it's time to really talk about what you're doing and how you're going to actually quantify that. Is it that we've put certain meals out, a number of meals out there? Is it that the number of people that report having less days without food? Like, it really requires you to have some CEO time to really think through these things, because a lot of times, like we said, we're throwing things out there last minute and it sounds good, but again, the reviewer like, well, how are they going to measure that? Like that doesn't make sense. And so that's when having access to a data consultant, someone like me, to have those conversations beforehand come into play, because the flowery words are great when it's needed. Yes. But when people are ready to give you money, they want to know that you can do it. But it's not, the flowery words got to be put to the side. It's time to talk the real. So that nitty gritty of what does it mean, it really comes out. Self-confidence, what does that mean? How are you measuring that? What does it mean you're gonna reach people all around the world? Like, are there particular countries that you're targeting? Right. And it's hard to, it's not even, I won't say it's hard to do it because it's, the field is so broad of what all you guys do. But the takeaway I want you to have is, think about what you do, and can you actually write that on a paper? Can I actually write the number of something or the percent of something on the paper? And if you can't write what that increase looks like, it's time for you to really think a little further about, well, how can I actually measure this increase? How can I measure this decrease? If you cannot write it on a paper, that means you have not quantified or made it measurable yet. Okay, I think that's a good like way to kind of do that nice and easy.
Right.
Thank you, Alana. Can you write it on a paper? Can I actually measure that on a paper, like the number of the percent of?
Mhm.
Can't. You got to think a little harder about it.
Right, right. And that even go with your outcomes as well. Outcomes and metrics for what you're doing now and for your previous year. When I talk about that, if you're already doing the work, and most businesses are, some of the metrics you can use is the number of your clients served. If you did like food or hand out, how many food bags did you hand out? If you taught kids about financial plan, how many children did you reach? What were their ages? What
Yep.
were their genders? What were the race? I mean, you need to start putting those numbers down.
Yep. All those things, like Teresa said, you can write on the paper. Like they're not, it's not guess, it's not abstract. Those
Mhm.
things can be written down explicitly on a paper. So I love those examples. But I want to hit this comment just in case this person hopped off anytime soon. I know there's a significant amount of grants for women-owned business, but what about veteran-owned businesses?
Oh, there's so many. First, that did something to me. I was like,
I
"Ooh,
saw it. Quick with you.
yes, there are grants out for veterans and for veteran-owned business." One, Alana, I would tell you to go get your veteran-owned certification. Go and get your veteran-owned certification. That would even open up government contracts for you, federal contracts for you to work. There are grants out there for veterans. Yes, 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 yes.
I love
There,
that.
there's basically a grant out there for everyone and everything.
I
Have it.
love it. Oh,
Great job, Alana. You in. If you are, I'm gonna give you this one, Alana. Go on sam.gov. If you have your UEI number, unique entity ID number, and have your business registered in sam.gov, it's a little space on there that says contracts. Click on that, and it'll list some contracts. That's the easiest way for you to go get list of contracts. But yes, there are grants out there for veteran-owned businesses.
and Alana, it sounds like you are making good progress and you already doing the steps. If you have more further questions or you want to fast track, like finding those grants, just send us an email, admin@grantsuccessunlock.com. That's something that Teresa does. Actually find those subset of grants that are
Mhm.
perfect for your business. So that way you don't have to spin your wheels trying to find them and figure them out because I don't know where they are either. She the expert, I do the data. But if you want to fast track it, just shoot us an email and we check that. It's up on my computer, it's up on her computer. So we
Yeah.
check that. We'll make sure we get you the help you need to kind of fast track that.
Right, right. I do have a component on my business called Grant Sleuth, in which we find 8 to 10 grants that you can apply for based on your business.
I love that. I love that. Listen, because I heard this again at my business retreat, and even I think maybe on a call last night. One business owner, he said, y'all, it was so funny, but like when you think about it, it's just like that makes so much sense. He said, Alana said you already on sam.gov, girl. Oh, she said I literally emailed her this morning. Okay, we gotta go check that email right now.
Yes, I will.
Come
We
on,
will.
Alana. Teresa, go check your email.
I
But he said he said I don't figure stuff out anymore. He's like, I don't have time to figure stuff out anymore. I would rather just pay someone to do it for me. Like I'm just past that point in my life, and some of you are in the same place where I'm just past the point in my life where you have time, like you don't have time to do that, but you have the resource to get someone else to do it for you, fix it for you, figure it out for you. If you know that's where you are, like you don't have time to figure stuff out for yourself anymore. But I have the resources to either hire somebody or do it, whatever the case may be. Fast track it. That's where I am in life. I'm not about to be on YouTube University. Who can help me? Okay, that's just where I am. And honestly, that's why we have this Grant Success Unlocked workshop, because it's trying to fast track you. Who can help me? We can come and learn for free, because we know there are tons of, unfortunately, I was talking to another grant expert. She said it's so many people out here scamming. So many people out here and we talk about this all the time on our platform. And so the Grant Success Unlocked workshop is literally a way for you to come and learn. So you don't have to figure it out on YouTube University. You can come and learn for free, but also vet us out in the process, because we want you to know that we're legit. We care about you and your mission. So just go ahead and register right now. Teresa, did you have anything else? Because it's 12:30. You know, we don't like to tarry people long. Anything else you want to say?
I just hope to see you all this weekend on the Grant Success Unlocked masterclass, the training that we're doing. So just awesome. We're here to help now.
Absolutely.
I can give you the help. I can hand it to you, but you got to take it out my hands and use it.
And so I saw Lana's comment. We are going, she said, help me. We are on the way. We're putting our capes on. Yes. We're on the way. So we're looking out for your email. And if we don't see it, I will find you. She said, I'm there. If not, girl, I will find you on Facebook. I see you on Facebook. But we want to make sure you get what you need. So thank you for joining us today. Make sure you register now at www.grantsuccessunlock.com. We're going to be talking about more about what it means to get Grant ready. Because as Teresa like to say, stay ready,
so you don't have to get ready.
I know that's right. We will see you on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you guys. Let me put that little banner up there for everybody else.
Yay!
Yeah.
I hope to see everyone.